Hi guys, welcome to Chicks and Giggles. I'm your host. Well, I'm not your host. I'm your guest host, Stephanie. We have our editor-in-chief, Sonia, and then we have our regular host, Hannah, and then we have our other guest, Sonia's little sister, Erin, or big sister, little sister,
She's my little big sister. She's taller
little
than
big
me.
sister. Okay, yeah.
Doesn't it suck getting the short gene?
I don't know how much I was supposed to do for an intro, but
Nope,
yeah,
it's totally perfect. Totally perfect.
sweet.
Totally perfect.
I'm here for it. Definitely heard that you should steal the big underwear that they give you.
You should, and I agree 100%, only because, again, I experienced it and went through it, and I've turned bathrooms into horror scenes.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called, but I refer to them as like they're
Basically
like
adult diapers.
They're like that, but they're better than that, right? They're like the mesh.
Yes and no. Like, so so the part that goes between your legs, like a pad would, that's really thick and like cushiony. The outside that wraps around your waist and everything is mesh. So it's very light, but it's also like pretty secure at the same time. It doesn't feel like an adult diaper or anything like that.
Yeah, I've heard it's like a combo of like the thickest pad in the world, but also like a comfortable diaper.
Oh yeah, like it's one of those things where like if they made pads like that in real life where they were thick as fuck like that, I would not be caught dead walking around. If I was on my period, I'd be calling out of work for a week.
There she is.
There's
Welcome
Erin.
back.
And we're back, guys.
I don't know if you missed my introduction, but I did introduce you as another guest.
It's a little
along
big
with
sister.
me. You're Sonia's little big sister.
The last thing I heard was, little big sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're all on the same page, I guess.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a quick catch up. It's fine.
Love it.
So we're definitely going to be talking about C-sections. We want to bring kind of to light the severity in which they happen and the common kind of how it's actually feels like it's kind of common for women to have C-sections.
Yeah.
Are we going to be talking about the horrors of birth?
We absolutely
Probably.
can.
Okay,
absolutely.
We'll get into the gross details and pooping on tables and shit like that.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like every woman poops on the table.
I wouldn't know. I couldn't see.
Unless you have a C-section.
Yeah.
Facts.
So if you don't poop on the table and not know about it, have a C-section.
Yeah,
exactly.
So Erin had 2 C-sections. And then Stephanie had her daughter completely natural. No epidural, no nothing.
Oh,
and then
champion.
I will correct you on that for a minute, but just because when I was in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, they gave me like 5 milligrams of morphine, and then in the hospital they injected into my IV. They injected 10 milligrams. They could only do so much because they didn't want it to affect the baby. But that's the amount. That's the only amount of drugs that I had during her birth.
Yeah,
Wow.
which is, I mean, that's pretty impressive. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I didn't feel the drugs hitting me at all.
Yeah, which is impressive.
Did you feel giving birth though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She was screaming 110%. She was screaming.
Oh god.
Okay. Bet.
She was yelling at me the whole
I
time.
don't want somebody listening to it and they're like, "Oh, you got morphine. It's not that big of a deal." Like,
no, it's a big deal. That morphine burned off like that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like it was non-existent. They injected me with water, basically.
We got the phone call at like midnight saying that her water broke, and I was so like half asleep and dazed, it didn't even register in my brain. And then I like sat straight up in bed and I was like, Damien, we're having a baby! Like I was so stoked.
Mind you, this is the second time in my life that something has happened to me where it was so convenient. So the first time was obviously when I went through when I got my menstrual cycle the first time. I was already going to the bathroom when it happened. So I got lucky with that. My water broke. I was going to the bathroom. I peed as normal, and then all of a sudden I just felt a rush of water come out of me at midnight. I was up watching Finding Nemo and munching on baked Lay's potato chips. Rush of water, and then I go into my mom's room and I look at her with this pale, panicked expression on my face. My water just broke. And she was like, "What?"
Jesus. Fuck.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Erin, you didn't have any of that, right? Your water had to be manually broke.
Oh no. They did induce me. I had to be induced. They let me go almost 2 full weeks over. So I was like 41 and 3/4 week. It was like 41 and 5 days. And
Oh, wow.
I was induced with Cervidil, which is just a pill that they place on your cervix just to help soften it. And they had tried to do like the little things to induce me to, like stripping my membrane, and they told me how to walk up the stairs sideways and bounce on this ball. So once the Cervidil was placed, 45 minutes later, my water broke. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know people that like that served with their wives, like they don't want to like have a surprise baby like that's around their due date, so they like set it up to where they're like exactly at 40 weeks they get induced.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
It's
an option.
wild.
Like you can, right? You can talk to your OB and be like, "Hey, I would like to be induced at this point." Like,
Yeah,
So
the family I know that's done it, they have 2 kids, and that's how both of them were. Like they were like 40 days on the dot induced.
yeah. The only thing to remember with that is like, don't assume just because one facility will do it that another one will, or one OB will do it, another one will, because every single OBGYN has their own preferences. Doesn't matter if they're in the same facility as a previous one. Like I went to a practice, so there's 3 OBGYNs within one facility, but one will schedule you for a C-section, one might not. One will induce you at 40 weeks, one will let you go until 43. So it's all really facility rules and provider preference.
That's weird. Do you think that that's not right? Like, do you think as the mother, like, who's gonna be, birthing this child, do you think that, like, if you go to an OBGYN and you're like, "Hey, I don't wanna, like, if I make it past 40 weeks, I don't wanna go past 41 weeks. So at 41 weeks, like, if we're not having movement, then I wanna be induced." Like, that's how it should work. It shouldn't be like, "Oh, no, we'll just see how it goes. I really don't like that, da, da, da," you know? Should it just be the
Yeah.
mother's choice, or should we have to bounce around from doctors?
It should be the mother's choice for sure. And that's why, as moms, when you do start going to your OB, you need to ask the questions right away. Like at your first visit, you need to ask these things like, if this happens, if I am not, progressed at all by 40 weeks, are you comfortable inducing? Because early on, it's easier to switch OBs than it would be at 38 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
I would
So
have
for all
never
the
thought to ask those questions.
yeah,
Like,
so
I
for all the young women who are listening who wanna get pregnant, y'all better start taking notes.
yeah.
Y'all better start thinking of questions. When you start making your birth plan, you better be like, "Alright, ask OB these questions."
Yeah.
also
Yeah, and
make sure you're ready to, like, not sleep at all.
Yeah.
Facts.
For
Yeah.
the next 18
And I
years.
Yeah. And I'm really
Yeah,
hoping that this
so
will bring like information, right? Because
Mhm.
we have 2 absolutely amazing mothers, my little sister and my best friend Stephanie. They're amazing moms and they've been through so different experiences, right? Erin, you had an emergency C-section and then you had a scheduled C-section. And Stephanie, your daughter happened to be completely natural.
Yeah,
So
and she came a
there's-
week early.
Right. So they're completely different experiences, 110% different experiences.
Yeah.
So Erin, I would like to hear, again, whatever you're comfortable sharing, what categorized yours, because you were progressing, right, in your
Yeah.
natural birth, and then it became an emergency.
Yeah. So there's a couple things that added and affected my labor and delivery, specifically with one, I was a really young mom. I mean, I was 22, which there are a lot of women who are younger, but that's a young body. And I also had gestational diabetes. I wasn't as educated in healthcare as I am now with my career. And I didn't do as much precautionary as I did with my second son. So with the gestational diabetes, my first son was huge. So he was 9 pounds, 15 ounces when he came out.
Holy
And he was
Oh, yeah, that's a hefty
22.
baby.
Yeah, and he was 22 and a 1/4 inch long. So almost 2 feet long, almost 10 pounds. So that
Long baby, heavy
long
baby.
baby,
That seems
yes.
to be common with when you get
Gestational
you said the
diabetes.
word. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know why it like it escaped my mind. So my wife had that with her third born. And he was a C-section. And he was I wouldn't say he was that heavy. I think he was close to 9 pounds, I think. But she ended
Mhm.
up going into an emergency C-section with him.
Yes.
And he was, I mean, I look at his baby photos and I'm like, bro, you had the fattest fucking head. I bet your mom is so thankful you were a C-section. He had a dome on him, man.
Yeah. So, my doctor that I had with my first son described the gestational diabetes. He was trying to explain it to me how it affects the baby, and he said with moms with gestational diabetes, any kind of sugar intake, whether it's complex carbs, whether it's simple sugars, it's like miracle grow for the baby in utero. So,
Oh
Oh
my
shit.
god.
I mean,
I didn't
unless
know
you're
that.
eating like a bunny rabbit, your baby's going to be a little bigger.
Yeah.
Wow.
God damn. Jeez,
Yeah.
everything you eat, dude.
Yes.
Right.
So
You can't even like
correct me if
Sorry,
I'm
go ahead.
wrong, Erin, but you found out pretty early that you had gestational diabetes, right?
They generally test you around the same time. It differs with every facility, but around like 26 weeks is when 26 to 28 weeks. I got
Yeah.
tested early with my second son because I had it
So
in
you're
my
about
first
3.
pregnancy.
So you're within the first trimester then when they
No,
tested you.
your second trimester.
Second. Okay.
What are
Okay.
the trimesters? Everybody says first, second, third, whatever. What breaks
I want to
up
say
the
it's like 1 to
trimesters?
12 is the first trimester, 13 to like 20 something is the second trimester, and then 20 something to 30 something is the third, or
Yeah.
20 to like 40 is the third.
Mm,
Okay.
It's
okay. Okay.
26 weeks is the second trimester cutoff. And then from 26
Okay.
weeks, I believe, I'm not an OBGYN, so don't take this as medical advice, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 26 weeks to 40 weeks is your third trimester.
Okay.
Mm, okay.
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 So you said that they tested you earlier with your second.
Correct, because I did have it with my first.
Yeah, so it's
Right.
more likely that you'll have it with your second.
Correct.
And you did, right?
I did, yes. I was borderline, and the glucose test that they do is super controversial, and I honestly very much dislike it. You go and you drink this disgusting drink that has 5 times the amount of actual sugar you're gonna have in any sit-down meal, and then you have
And
to
it tastes
sit
like
there.
ass.
It's horrible, and it makes you feel sick to your stomach because you have to fast before it, so you're drinking this
Yep.
it's like
Oh.
300 or something like that of glucose in it.
Mm-hmm.
So and then you have to test, and you're pregnant and you already feel like crap. So it's not like you're walking
Yeah.
around. You're just
Sounds
sitting
like they
at
gave
the
you
hospital.
diabetes and then made you test.
Right?
Exactly.
They're
That
just
sounds
like,
horrible.
here.
Yeah.
But I bet you every woman says it tastes bad, and I bet you I would probably
But
think
it actually does.
good.
If you imagine your favorite like fruit punch or orange juice or orange drank, if you remember orange drank, and just put like a fuck ton of sugar in that shit and make it like an awful color.
I don't
I
know.
actually
See, like,
do
so
know some women who loved it. So it's not every woman, but
see, I
But
find
be-
it interesting because, like, every time I go to the doctor's office and I have to drink something, so like I've had these tests done for CT scans where I have to drink barium.
Ooh,
Okay, and
that
everybody
sounds
says
awful.
barium tastes rancid. It tastes horrible.
Tastes like
Eh,
metal.
the 2 times I have had to do it, the banana flavored one that they give me, I down that shit, no problem. That shit is I don't like banana, but it tastes amazing.
Erin, did you have to do a 4-hour glucose test or an hour glucose test?
so with my first son, I did both. So I
Okay.
did I want to say up here it's a 3-hour. So you do it
Okay.
and then you have to sit and then you get drawn after No,
Yeah.
it is an hour. You are
Wait,
right.
wait. So they make you drink that shit, and then you have to sit at the hospital for hours?
Yes.
I was
So for
actually
the
at a
Oh my
LabCorp.
god.
Yep.
'Cause I'm assuming they don't want you, like, active, right? Like, they don't want you
No.
walking around 'cause that affects your
right.
glucose levels, right?
And that's why
Correct.
I asked the question because I don't with my daughter, I had to do they had me do an hour the first time, and my test results, they took my blood before I drank that sugary ass shit, and I'm a sweet tooth, like, I like sweets, and that just ugh. Took my blood before I drank it, then I had to drink it. You have to drink it in 5 minutes. You have
Oh.
5 minutes to drink it, and it's like, have you ever seen those little water bottles? Like, the
Yeah, like
little
the,
it's
like
that size.
yeah,
You
it's
have
like
to
a
drink a little water bottle filled with that
yeah.
crap, and then they let you sit for an hour in whatever facility that you're doing your test in, and I know they offer it at hospitals. I was at a LabCorp, which also does blood work, 'cause that was what was available in Jersey. So when I got my test results back, it came back inconclusive. So then I had to go back and I had to do
Yep.
a 4-hour one. So again, I got stuck with a needle before I drank this shit in 5 minutes, and then every hour on the hour, they
Mhm.
stuck me. So I got twice in this arm and probably 3 times in this arm, and they drew blood every hour to see how the sugar processed in my bloodstream.
That sounds
Yeah.
miserable.
It was
So
miserable, and I was alone the whole time.
I had to do that with my first son because I went and they were like,
Yeah.
"Well, it's kind of borderline. You failed, but we'll send you for the 3-hour one." So and with my 1 hour, I didn't get a draw first. I just went in. I drank it on my way in because I live in the boondocks and the closest OB
Yeah.
from me is an hour and a half. So I
Holy
had to
crap.
drink it on my way in, and then they drew me as soon as I got there. Like at my OB's office, they give you a paper and it's like, drink at this time, stop at this time, be at registration for this time. If there's a line at the lab, tell them it's time sensitive and you have to skip it. Yeah. And then
Oh,
Oh.
wow.
I was working at a hospital when I was pregnant with my first son. So I was at work and I just did my second test, the prolonged one. And I would just set my
Yeah.
timer and I'd just walk to the lab every hour.
Oh
Ugh.
my god.
See, I would have at least liked to have been able to do that. I was stuck sitting in a lobby,
Yeah.
just either doom scrolling my phone, texting people, updating people on how I'm doing, or looking at, those
Okay.
old magazines.
Is this something that every woman has to do when they're pregnant?
Yes.
So
Oh
you
my
can
god.
refuse it. So don't
Oh,
ever
can
let
you?
a provider force you to do anything. You're allowed to refuse anything. With that being said, providers have their beliefs. Doctors went to school for many years. They are very passionate about what they do, for the most part, I should say. If you decline, that can look poorly with them. And there have been instances where they take that into account of whether they're going to report you to the state or not. So
Oh.
They can call
talk to your,
CPS because you refuse it.
yes, because,
Wow.
What?
Okay, so I
yeah.
didn't know that, but that's absolutely ridiculous.
So like I said, every
Why?
provider, every facility. So if you do have gestational diabetes and it's untreated and undiagnosed, your baby can become severely overweight. Like we're talking 12 pounds and over. And then when they're delivered, they have higher risk of respiratory distress, cardiac arrest, all of those things. So if you have the opportunity
Gotcha.
to be diagnosed and you're saying, no, I don't want to, then they can take that as neglect. Not
Okay.
everyone.
You
I
can
guess
So
that
again,
that's where it
neglect an
makes sense.
unborn child. That is wild.
mhm. So that's going to
That's
depend state by
crazy.
state, facility by facility, and provider by provider. So again, when you go to your first appointment, even before that, even before your first appointment, you need to be researching your facilities, the providers, talk to other moms join the mom groups on social media, ask questions
Mhm.
because other moms have already been through it. They already know, like, yeah, my provider was fine with me not doing that. Or some facilities offer a sit down meal where they can kind of simulate what your average meal would look like at home. You sit, you eat your meal, and then you get your test. So
Wow.
there's
Interesting.
other
I would
options,
have liked that.
right?
Hmm. That's
So like where
interesting.
I live in New Hampshire is very rural. We don't, like I said, the closest facility that even delivers children is an hour and a half away. We didn't have a lot of options, right? I was kind of stuck with what I got. You get
Yeah.
what you get and you don't throw a fit. But like we don't even have midwives in this area. So if I wanted to try a home birth, they don't even come up this north. So but in places like Arizona, New Jersey, higher populated, even in southern New Hampshire, there's so many different facilities to choose from. So doing your research is just super important.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow.
Hmm.
So it's
And that's
so different, even just state to state then.
Mm-hmm.
crazy
Wow.
because when I had my daughter, and I went to my first OB appointment to get checked because I didn't know that I was pregnant and I had taken like 3 pregnancy tests before I went to the OB.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I had the test and they said, "Oh, you're positive, you're pregnant, and your due date is X, Y, and Z date," they immediately got me set up with a whole bunch of things for first-time parents. Like I had a nurse that would come to my house like either once every couple weeks. We would do different activities. She would show me different things. She introduced me to a world of scrapbooking. So for like the first couple months of me being pregnant, every like Wednesday or Thursday I'd be going to this, it looked like a school, and it might have been a school, but it was on like off days during the summer. They would host like scrapbooking days with other parents. So I was able to go and talk to other first-time moms while I scrapbooked and get this information. And this nurse that came to my house gave me information for as like being a first-time mom too. But I would have
Which is
never thought to
amazing.
ask about anything else. It was amazing. Honestly, it helped so much. It helped me with my journey because I was terrified. I wasn't
Yeah.
young with my daughter. I was probably like 24 going on 25, but I was still unprepared. I was so
Mm-hmm.
unprepared.
I feel like no matter what, I feel like as a parent, like as a first time parent, I feel like you could take all the classes in the world, all the people could help you,
Yeah.
right? You could read all the books, what to
Yeah.
expect when you're expecting and whatever else is out there. I feel like no matter what, though, like
You're unprepared.
you're unprepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't matter if they handed you a manual on
No.
how to be the perfect parent. Like it's
And
not going to
Exactly.
work out
And they
that
could
way.
have given me a manual, step-by-step instructions.
So this is the other thing too, right? Like Erin, you're a boy mom,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you just recently got your stepdaughters,
Mm-hmm.
and Stephanie is a girl mom,
Mhm.
and her daughter's so soft and so fragile, and like your boys are friggin' throw them in the air and flip them around, and just no fear whatsoever. So there's so much of a difference just in that in itself, which
Look,
is
there's
so
one thing
wild.
all babies have in common, and that's that they bounce.
Yeah. Even now I tell when my daughter wants to do these crazy acrobatic things or try to climb on things, I'm like, "Okay, but just remember, if you get hurt or if you get stuck or any of the whatever might
Yeah.
happen, you're going to bounce." I was just telling her the other day because she was sitting up on this, like, it looked like a median partition that's at my job that's up against the wall, and there's like a space between the wall and this median partition, and she was sitting on top of it. I was like, I just want you to know, if you fall back behind that and get stuck, like where you're in this folded up position, you're staying there. I'll bring you food. You'll survive. You'll still grow and eat
You're
and
on your
thrive
own.
and everything, but you're
Yeah, you're
staying
on your own,
here.
though.
You gotta watch the parking lot now. You're the parking lot guard, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I try to let her be a child. I try to let her
Yeah.
do all the things that she wants to do, like,
Yeah.
because partially, yes, in the very beginning, I was a helicopter mom. I was always worried. But then I realized, okay, she's gonna continue to get hurt. This kid comes home from school with bruises on her knees, her legs, like mysterious bruises, like I get mysterious bruises.
Every woman ever.
And I think the
Yeah,
first time I
100%.
ever realized, like, she's gonna continue to get hurt and I need to not panic was I took her to a friend's house when I was still living in Jersey so she could have a play date with my friend's kids. And she didn't know at the time. What do we not do when other kids are swinging on swings? We don't walk in front of them and we don't walk behind them. Well, she walked in front of one of them. She got kicked in the mouth. split her lip open, and she came running to me crying. I probably turned really pale, grabbed her. I was like, "You're okay. It's all right. It's just a little bit of blood. Hey, friend, can you go get me like a paper towel, like a wet paper towel with some ice in it for me, please?" And she went and got it. I wiped her face off. I was like, "It's okay. You're fine." I might have like had all this fear like deep in my chest, but I'm like, "You're okay. It's just a little bit of blood. It happens. You're gonna continue to get hurt."
Yeah,
And
dude,
she
I
was
do the
young. She
same.
didn't understand.
I
But
do
I
the same
stayed
with my
calm.
kids, and they're older. Like,
Yeah.
when we first moved to Texas, my youngest daughter biffed it on her Heelys cat,
Oh.
and everybody was convinced that her arm was broke. And I was like, no, I was like, it's just
Nah,
a
she's
little bit of
good.
swelling. Like, she's okay, right? We'll give her
It's a
some
sprain.
ibuprofen. She'll be all right. We iced it, and like an hour later, she was still like, couldn't touch it, couldn't move it. And I was like, all right, now it might be broke. Like, we might have a problem.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, we took her to the ER, and sure as fuck, she broke it. And I was like, God, dude.
Yeah. But I've also realized now that like as long as I'm calm when I approach her when she gets hurt, I calm her down. I'm like, "You're okay. It's fine.
Yeah,
Let me
and
take a
that's
look."
my thing too, yeah,
I'm
is I
like,
try to
"Can
play it
you
off like,
bend
no,
it?"
no, no, it's okay, it's okay, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Just rub
She'll
some
hurt
dirt
you
on
and
it.
be
It's
like,
fine.
Can you
45
bend
minutes from
it?
now, if you're
Can
still
you move
freaking
it?
out.
Yeah.
Are you bleeding?
Yeah,
You're okay.
yeah.
We'll get some ice. Just chill out. Walk it off.
Now, Erin, your boys are super resilient. Like I mean, your oldest boy specifically, like he'll wipe out and get up and be like, "I'm fine," and just like walk away.
It
Like,
depends. If I make eye contact with him,
okay.
it's over. But if he doesn't
You look at him
see
and it's like,
me, yeah. Both
Yeah.
of my even my youngest son, who's not even quite 11 months old yet, if he like falls, he'll look, and if I look away, he's fine. But if we lock eyes,
It's game
It's
over.
over.
yeah.
yeah,
It's
Well,
waterworks, and
man,
it's
I
like,
wish my
okay.
kids were like that. All 3 of my kids, like, they fall and like jam a finger, and it's like the end of the world. It's just like they've been murdered. Like, it's, and I'm like,
But like, to be
no,
fair,
ice
I've jammed a
all
finger
day.
and that crap hurts.
Oh, it hurts.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like, I know shit hurts, right? Like, I've stubbed
Yeah.
my toe and
Like, I'm not
cut
dying,
the
but
world out,
that
but
fucking hurts.
fuck, dude. But yeah,
So,
nothing will prepare you though.
Erin, I want to go back to your oldest being an emergency C-section, right?
yes, yeah.
So you said that you started to progress naturally, right?
Well, I
And
was
then-
induced, so not technically naturally,
Right.
but yeah, my water broke
Okay.
after the cervidil.
Okay.
And then
So walk us through that. Like, at what point did it turn into an emergency? Like, what was like the doctors were like, okay, fuck, like we got to get this baby out now.
yeah, so well, there was like 3 strikes, you're out kind of thing. So first strike
Okay.
was that I had to be induced. So every time you get an intervention when you're in labor, your risk for needing another intervention is that much higher, right? I mean,
Oh, okay.
I was induced, and then my risk for needing another intervention was already greater. My second strike was that when my water broke, it had meconium in it. And for those that don't know what meconium is, it's the baby's first stool. So my baby pooped inside me, and everyone joked that he would have been 10 times even if he didn't poop inside me. But
So explain to us why your baby pooping in utero is dangerous. Explain that to us.
so if they pass stool and your water doesn't break, it's not as risky, right? But as soon as your water breaks, your chance for infection already increases. Now your baby's chance for infection is increasing too. And if they aspirate that meconium, their risk for respiratory distress is that much higher as well. It's not just that amniotic fluid that they've been breathing in and out the whole time you've been pregnant. Now there's this foreign substance in there that can increase mine and their risk for infection and respiratory distress. So they could have, some facilities and some providers could have been like, ooh, let's stop a little bit here and let's address this. Maybe a C-section would be more appropriate. My provider has been delivering babies for years and is comfortable with letting me labor and keep an eye on the baby. My third strike at 14 hours, So I'll back up a little. So at 10 hours of labor, my blood pressure dropped and my
Oh.
son's heart rate started dropping. Not until like
Oh,
we need
shit.
to go right now, but all right, we need to start thinking about some other options here. What can we do? That's when they suggested me getting an epidural. They said, you have had piggyback contractions for 10 hours straight, and every time you're contracting, his heart rate is dropping. So let's slow things down for him. Maybe he just needs a little time. An epidural will relax everything for you. And I was like,
Was he breached? Like, was he breached already? Was he head down?
no, so breach would be feet first,
Feet.
but he was
Yeah.
head down.
Oh,
He
is that
was
what that
ready
is?
to come
I
out.
swore
Yeah.
somebody explained to me that
No,
breached
head down
was
is
head
how it's
first.
supposed to be. Breached
Yeah.
is like anything
Feet
but
first.
the head. So
Yeah.
like,
Oh, okay, somebody
yeah.
totally flipped it for me. Okay, so
Isn't
was
there
he
a
head
breach
down
where
at
like the
this
shoulder
point?
comes first?
It can be any limb
Breach is feet first.
presentation.
Okay.
Okay. So was he head
Yeah.
down at this point, or was he
He was
still?
head down, and he was
Okay.
there. He was trying to get in my canal. I was
Yeah,
so
like he was ready.
tense. He was ready. Yeah. And he was long, so his feet were still in my ribs and his head was down in my canal, ready to come out. So he was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
big and I was so tense, and my contractions were coming so fast. Like one was starting before the other one ended. So
So
they thought that
basically,
if
he just because the
he was being
contractions were
squished.
so back to back, it basically wasn't. Yeah. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
tracking. I'm picking up what you're laying down.
So they
Okay.
thought that if I got the epidural and could relax and slow the contractions a little bit, that I would be able to progress more. So at that point, I was 4 centimeters dilated in 10 hours,
Oh my
which
God.
is
Holy
normal
crap.
it is normal for first time moms to labor forever. But after the epidural, I lost consciousness. I thought that I was just tired, but come to find out, my blood pressure went way, way down. And if anyone in the medical field is listening, my maps were like in the 50s and 40s, which means like
Holy crap.
my blood pressure was really close. The top and bottom number were really close and really low. And his heart rate dropped really low. So they rolled me on my left side that takes pressure off of the main blood vessel in your body that helps circulate blood. And it can help kind of just relax everything with baby as well. That brought everything back. They let me labor for 4 more hours. So I do have to say that my provider in the facility that I was in, they really worked with me. I did not want a C-section. They did everything they could to prolong the inevitable. So then at 14 hours, I was at 4.5 centimeters. Baby's heart rate kept
Oh my God.
dropping. It was becoming longer and longer that his heart rate was low. So then it was at that point that they told me I was going to have to go in for a C-section. They said that they were concerned if they waited any longer that his heart rate would not come back up the next time it dropped.
Oof.
And to segue into this topic, it was peak COVID, and I was by myself with my first son's father, who was of no help at all. And
I feel
all
that.
I wanted was my mom, who was not allowed to be there. So it was pretty crazy. It was a pretty intense
You
time.
gotta go through all of this alone.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I remember the last like
Jeez.
4 weeks leading
That's
up to
scary as
my
fuck.
delivery. I just kept checking because everyone was updating the rules because COVID was becoming more and more and more. So 2 weeks before my induction, they shut down the entire facility. So it was one support person and you were allowed in, and that was it.
Wow, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yep.
So, Erin, if you know, what is a heart rate for babies where they get like concerned and it might move it to an emergency C-section?
So below 100 is like bad. Like prolonged below 100 is not great. My first son,
Right.
he dropped below 90, which is like
Oof.
if that baby was alive, any like below 60, you start CPR on babies. So yeah.
So you guys want to hear something that's crazy? So when Amber had to be do an emergency C-section for our son, his heart rate dropped to 15.
Holy hell.
15?
Damn.
15.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
it turned out
crazy.
he ended up having like there's two, I think it was 2 knots in his umbilical cord, and then it was wrapped
Oh.
around his neck as well, and it just
Mhm.
dropped instantly, and so
Oh
they
my
did
god.
the emergency C-section.
Wow.
Holy shit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't need that.
I mean, why would I know that?
Yeah. 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 So his and it was just bam.
Okay.
Damn.
And he probably
So
had those knots the entire time. And then the labor probably shifted it just right to tighten them. It's crazy
Yeah.
what happens when your uterus is contracting after that baby's just been chilling in his whirlpool for 9 months. And then your uterus starts
Yeah.
contracting and everything tightens and pulls. It's crazy. 15 is
So-
wild.
Stephanie, we had none of those complications when your
No.
daughter was born.
No, I don't remember having any of those kind of complications when I was born.
Girl, you didn't. You said your water broke at midnight, and
Yeah.
13 hours later, she was here.
Yeah. The only complication, and they didn't really specify anything to me other than the fact that they needed to use olive oil to get her out of me, because every time I would start to contract, which, by the way, I also had piggyback contractions, so like it would start to go up, come down, and then straight
Yeah.
go back up again.
Yeah.
And my significant other at the time, my bad, my daughter's biological father, sperm donor, whatever you want to call him, his sister was my doula at the time because she was actually practicing to be an official certified doula, and she would walk me through it like as I was contracting. Meanwhile, I'm laying in the bed, my
Not
arms
well.
are going very numb and tingly, my legs are going very numb and tingly, and I'm staring at the ceiling trying to count the dots to focus on something, to not focus on the pain. Every time I would contract, she'd kind of like slide down a little bit, but every time my contractions would stop, she'd come right back up in, and they
Mhm.
pulled literally a bottle labeled olive oil out. I didn't feel anything in my nether regions when I was pregnant and in labor with her until they put that olive oil down there, and then it was like everything lit on fire.
Hmm.
I would imagine so. I don't think olive oil is supposed to be down there.
Oh no,
Apparently, it's
You'd
a
be
medical tool.
surprised.
it's a
Yeah.
medical tool, and it worked
Yeah.
because as soon as they used it, it was probably like shortly after they applied it. And by apply it, I mean they did apply it with their hand first, like at my vaginal opening where it was
Yeah.
coming out. They dumped the bottle on me, and then shortly after that, she came out, and
I
then
think it was like
thought I was
45 minutes.
yeah, I thought I was done after that, and then they're like, "Oh no, you need to get the placenta out too, because if we don't get all this stuff out, you're gonna go into toxic shock syndrome, and it's
Yeah.
not good." And I was like, "Well, fuck, I thought I was done."
Yeah.
And I also know that these doctors hear a lot of shit, and Sonia can tell you firsthand. They had me, like, my legs were up, they were saying, "Push, it's time to push," and I'm like,
Oh my
"Stop telling me
God,
to fucking
dude.
push, I wanna go to sleep." I was yelling at the doctors because I was just so exhausted because I
everybody.
went into labor at midnight. I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
get any kind of sleep, I hadn't eaten, they only
was
let me
so
have ice
tired.
chips, and all I wanted was water. Sonia walked into the room at some point, and I was
Tired.
like, "This is all your fault!" I'm screaming at
Literally,
her
the
because
first words that she said to me were "fuck you" and the horse you rode in on. And I was like, "Why is this my fault?" And she was like, "You predicted it was going to be this
She did.
day."
she did.
I
At my
did.
baby shower, she predicted what
I-
time my daughter was
did.
going to come out. All the things were correct, and I was pissed off about it. But then
Yeah.
later, I had a change of heart, and I was like, "If you take the pain away, I'll kill every spider in your house for the rest of my life." She couldn't take the pain away, so
So-
I don't have to kill anything.
We might
Stephanie,
talk
did
some mad
you-
shit about doctors, but I will contend them for taking what mothers say to them
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I've heard some horror stories.
Were you
ahead,
offered
Erin.
nitrous during your labor?
No.
What the
No.
fuck is nitrous?
Honestly,
Yeah.
if I was
Nitrous
offered
oxide?
nitrous, I would have taken
Yeah.
it. I would have been like, "Hell yeah, I'll take the nitrous."
What the fuck is
They came in every so often. I don't remember how many hours between. They would come in and they would use like their first 3 fingers and check
Mhm.
to see
Oh
how
my God,
dilated I
dude.
was. And let me tell you, like in labor, no epidural, that shit hurts.
It does hurt.
Like
This poor
I'm here
girl.
for a spicy time, but I'm not here for a 3-finger spice. Like, don't be sticking 3 fingers up in my hoo-ha,
She
Did they
trying
at
to figure
least,
out
like,
how open
put
I
some
am.
type of like lubricant or anything, or they just
I
glove
don't
up
remember
and
if
go
they
like,
used
"Here we
lubricant.
go."
It felt like they were going in there dry, honestly, and I didn't have a pillow to bite, and I was pissed off about it.
God.
So when I walked in there, a nurse had just come in to check her dilation,
I was pissed about it.
and she is full on bawling because the nurse comes in and she's like, "I have to check your dilation. I
I
have
was
to
like,
see
please, no, I don't want to
see
do
where
this
you're
again.
at." And she was like, "If you guys would stop sticking your fucking fingers in me, maybe I could dilate better." And I was like,
Facts.
I
I was an
understand.
asshole. I'm not gonna lie.
I understand that you're hurting. I understand that you're over this process,
Oh
but
my
I need you
God.
to take a deep breath, and the nurse needs to do her job.
Yeah.
So I just
Well, they-
wanted to stop.
Oh my God. It is so
And
crazy.
mind
the
you,
different-
before Sonia got there and
Yeah.
before my doula
Oh, it's
got
a
there, my
mess.
birth doula got there, I had my significant other there, my daughter's birth father, and he was passed out on the couch. You can ask
Yeah.
Sonia. When she walked in, he was asleep next to me, not doing shit.
Yep.
And then
There was no comfort,
sister
no
showed
nothing.
up. She had like this heating pad that was lavender scented, which did help because I'm very
This
into
much.
the essential oils. I have an essential oil for that. I have a stone for that. I'm into that shit. It helped me relax a little bit. Honestly, if I knew that I was allowed to move and get up and like stretch and stuff like that with help, because obviously I'm in labor, so I can't,
Yeah.
there's certain things I can't do by myself. I would have, been willing to get up and like
They
get into
didn't
different
tell you
positions,
that?
but I was laying in bed. They didn't tell me anything. They didn't tell
That's
me that I was allowed
awful.
to get out of bed.
That's awful.
The only thing they said is, "Oh, by the way, if you decide that you do want the epidural, make sure you get up and use the bathroom before you go, because once we give it to you, you can't get up and do anything because you will not have
Yep.
function in your legs."
Yeah.
And
Which makes sense.
from my previous statement before about having my nurse that came and visited me, she showed me a video on how they do epidurals. I didn't know there were other different kinds of epidurals, but she showed me the main one, and I guess it's a spinal epidural, and they showed me how
Mhm.
long this fucking needle is and how thick it is. I got to watch a whole birthing video and how they do an epidural, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm not going to have that in
recommend.
my back.
I don't recommend first-time moms watching operations like that because I have had both. Like I said, I did have an epidural with my first son. You literally, if you
Yeah.
have, let me preface this by saying, if you have a good CRNA or a good anesthesiologist, you do not feel a thing. I did not feel at all my epidural. They wait. They have you bear down on a pillow. My significant other was standing in front of me. I had to squeeze onto them, and they wait for your contraction, and then they insert this catheter into the epidural space
So
of
when
your
you're
spine.
already in pain, they do another
Mhm.
painful thing to you.
Yes.
That's fucking
Now-
smart.
Yeah,
I'm not
there's
gonna
some
lie.
horror stories. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there's some horror stories with I feel like every which way you could give birth, right? There's a horror story. So, like, I have a really
Yeah.
good friend of mine, up in North Dakota, with her first daughter, she did the epidural, and you're not supposed to move when they're sticking the needle into you, right? Like, that's a huge thing, is you're not supposed to move. Well,
Mhm.
she ended up, like, I guess, like, having a spasm with her contraction when they were doing it, and it tweaked her spine just a little bit, so
Oh,
she has, like,
no.
lower back issues because of it. I mean, she's fine, she's good, but, like, she does have, like, an issue with her lower back now just a little
Yeah.
bit because of
You
it.
can have
So I
like
think there's horror stories with everything.
you can have a leak too from something like that. So like a CSF leak.
Yeah.
It's like in your spine you have fluid, and if that leaks,
Yeah.
you can get, like, I did know someone that got an epidural. When they pulled it, it didn't heal right. I don't know exactly. I'm not a doctor, but she had a
Yeah.
horrid headache after, like debilitating migraines, and they found out that that's what it was from. Was that there was fluid leaking from her spine.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And
So
then even go ahead.
I just want to talk about really quick. So the C-section statistics on just globally, right? Because you always hear that the US is like horrible, right? That we Is it not gonna do the thing?
I see it.
Okay.
Oh,
Cool.
there we go.
It's very tiny.
So yeah, I don't think there's like a way to like zoom that in. But so it says the highest C-section rates by country, and this is recent data. So it says global C-section rates vary widely, and the highest rates found in the Dominican Republic at 58%, Brazil 56%, and Turkey 51 to 60%. The WHO recommends a 10 to 15% rate, but many nations exceed this due to rising medical interventions. Other high rate nations include Egypt, Cyprus, and Romania. Sub-Saharan Africa has the lowest rates, often below 5%, right? So we have, again, the Dominican Republic at 58.1, Brazil at 55.7, Cyprus at 55.3, Egypt at 51.8, Turkey 50.8 to 60%, which is, I think the 60% is absolutely wild. Korea at 56.8, Chile 51.2, Mexico at 49.3, Romania at 46.9, and then Poland at 41 to 42%. So then you have regional and developed country rates. So the United States at approximately 32% between 2018 to 2022. That's their data. Australia at 38.3, Ireland at 35.5, Switzerland at 32.6, Italy at 32 to 33%, Germany at 31, Latin America, Caribbean, high average rates often exceeding 40% in certain nations. And then again, the sub-Saharan Africa, lowest rates often under 5. So I just think it's wild, right? That is happening. Like, do these numbers make sense to you, Erin? Does it?
Yeah, so I'm really passionate about C-sections, not only because I've had two, and one was emergent and one was precautionary. But I'm a woman who works in healthcare. I'm a paramedic and I work not only in the ambulance, but I work at a critical access hospital as well in the emergency department. And I think that women, not just in everyday healthcare, but specifically in pregnancy, they're not talked to enough. They're not spoken to with honesty with their providers a lot of the time. So I like to talk about specifically C-sections because it's personal to me, but because I feel like it's pushed a lot when maybe it's not quite necessary. Those numbers aren't necessarily surprising to me. I have done research a lot on this topic, and April is C-section Awareness Month for our nation. So the CDC recently updated some of their statistics through 2024, and we had like a 10% increase from 2023 to 2024 in our C-section rates in the United States. Mississippi is the state with the highest, according to 2024 statistics, with a 37.9% cesarean section rate. Arizona is actually doing pretty good. They're right around the national average at 29. I live in New Hampshire. We're at 32.9% of all births. So not only are those statistics pretty on par, but the big difference between the United States and other countries is that we have a really disgustingly obvious problem with racial disparity in C-sections. If you look at the statistics nationwide, Black and Asian women are the highest rate of C-sections in the United States. And we're talking like 40% of all C-sections are one or the other. Now, out of all of the races, all of the ethnicities that we have in the United States, to have two make up 40% of all C-sections, that's pretty.
It's wild.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And it makes you question, like, why?
Yeah, I was just
Is
gonna
it?
say, like, why do we have 2 different races that make up 40% of that? Like,
Yeah.
what's the history or not history, but what's the reasoning for them
Yeah, what's
needing
the logic? Yeah.
It was the leading cause that because you would think that because 40%, that's a pretty big number, right?
Yeah.
So you would think that 3 or 4 races would maybe make that up.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
but not
So what's
2.
the
That's
leading cause
wild.
too?
Yep. Yeah. And it's yeah.
Now, do you think, and I don't know how true this is, but I have heard that Black women are more likely to hemorrhage, I think it is, or have complications during pregnancy.
So, Black women are more likely to develop HELP syndrome, which that's just an acronym for hemolysis, low. I'm sorry. Let me think for just a second. It's hemolysis. Uh,
You said it's called HELP syndrome?
yes. So it's hemolysis, elevated liver enzymes, and low platelets. Sorry, that's what it stands for. Which hemolysis is the breakdown of red blood cells, elevated liver enzymes, which show up in their lab work, and then low platelets, which is it can cause and lead to like them hemorrhaging and bleeding out.
So, yep. So, I just pulled it up and it says HELP syndrome is a rare, life threatening pregnancy complication involving hemolysis,
Mhm.
breakdown of the red blood cells, elevated liver enzymes, and low platelet count, usually occurring in the 3rd trimester or postpartum.
Mhm.
As a severe variant of preeclampsia, it
Mhm.
causes severe abdominal pain, nausea, headache, and vision changes.
Wait. So wouldn't it be better for them to have a natural birth then instead of
So
cutting them open?
the only problem with natural birth is that there's so many variables that you can't control. So
Right.
hemorrhage is actually more likely with natural births because you can't open it up, control every situation, plan it, know what you're going to be doing, know that you're going to get the placenta out yourself, know that you're going to have contact with all of those vessels, clear it out,
Okay.
Mhm.
make sure
Okay.
that they're not bleeding, and then close her up. Whereas with
Yep.
natural
Okay. Gotcha.
deliveries, the placenta could have
Anything could
already,
happen.
right, exactly. There's just so many
Okay.
uncontrollables with natural.
Yeah, there's so many variables. Like, I mean, I had a good friend when she gave birth to her first child. He ended up getting stuck in the canal, and like they
Hmm.
tried forceps, didn't work.
Oh my
Then they went
God.
to the vacuum, and they ended up basically vacuuming him out, but also like vacuuming him, but also like kind of forcing him out at the
Mhm.
same
Hmm.
time. So
So that's a procedure, right, Erin? When they have to push
It's just a
the name for
maneuver.
that. I can't
It's
think
just a
what it is.
maneuver. I can't remember the exact name for it, but that is, they'll have like a nurse at the like mid bed, head of the bed, push on the upper abdomen right at the top of the fundus while the
Oh,
And
no.
provider
she's
is
No.
down
gone.
bottom.
Of
okay,
course.
Just
where's
in
the
case, I
ending
do
too?
remember when I was after I gave birth to my daughter and they got the placenta out, they did have to basically do the same thing, like, they were checking me to see how dilated I was to kinda, like, try to scoop, because I thought I was done. At the very end of everything, I thought I was done, and then they started doing the thing and
So they
pushing on my
didn't tell
stomach.
you about the placental birth.
No, I
I
was
thought
not
they, I'll
informed
be
about the
honest, I thought
placental
they just
birth.
like when the umbilical
Umbilical
cord. I
cord?
thought they just kind of like kind of pulled that baby out with
No,
it.
I had to basically birth my daughter and then birth the
Yeah.
placenta. They pushed on my stomach afterwards to make sure everything was out. Ended up being 9 pounds, 2 ounces. She was 23 inches long with a 13-centimeter head, which caused me to have second degree tearing.
Yep.
They had to numb my nether region, and I had to have stitches.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, so, after all that was done, then I was finally able to go to, like, recovery
What's the
with
procedure
my
called
daughter.
when they cut you?
That's called an
Episiotomy.
episiotomy. Now, I will say that
Stephanie refused it
I was told
the
about
whole
it.
time.
I refused the episiotomy because when they do the episiotomy, it's mainly because if I decided, I want to have another child, which is false. I don't want to have another child. I love my one daughter. She is my everything, and she will be my only everything. I don't need another child in my life right now. I refused the episiotomy because it makes it easier so that way when I have another child, instead of tearing again,
Just
the
cuts.
episiotomy will just split right
Split,
open and then
yeah.
they can stitch it up easier. I refused the episiotomy. I did not want the episiotomy. I would rather them stitch me back up after tearing because I want to heal naturally. I didn't want the
Welcome back.
episiotomy. I refused it 100%. They're like, "Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?" I was like, "Yes, don't fucking cut me."
Yeah, I remember at one point I had to fully advocate for Stephanie because
They
the
wouldn't
doctor
listen to
kept
me.
pushing
Just
for
like
the
with the epidural.
episiotomy.
I didn't want the epidural. They
Yep.
kept coming in every time they had to check me to see if I was dilated.
Yep.
"Oh, do you want the epidural? Are you sure you don't want the epidural?"
Yep.
"No, I don't want the fucking epidural. Don't give me the fucking epidural. If you get near me with that needle, it's gonna go through your throat."
Yeah, and I literally
Well,
had
yeah.
to advocate, so her doula, and this is why I was so pissed that day because her doula wasn't advocating for her, which is the whole point of
No.
a doula,
She was
right? They're
trying to keep
supposed
me
to
calm,
be
and I get that, but, no, she wasn't
right, but
advocating for me.
it's definitely a two-parter, right? So, you're supposed to have your doula advocate for you. At the same time, you're supposed to have her keep you calm. And
That's what I
essentially,
was hoping for.
I ended up doing that. I ended up keeping Stephanie calm, but at the same time, advocating
Yeah.
for her. So when the
It was
doctor asked, they asked the first time I'd just gotten there. I
you
think I
weren't
heard it,
there for the
maybe-
first time, but you were there for the second and the third time.
Yeah. So the first time that I heard them ask, and she said no, and I didn't understand at the time, why she was so frustrated.
Yeah.
And then she asked the second time, and I was like, okay, this is why I'm frustrated. This is why
Yeah.
she's frustrated, because it ended up being the third time. And I was like, listen, if you
Yeah.
guys ask again, I'm going to ask for a new nurse and a new doctor because this is
So-
ridiculous.
I do have a question, and I think it would be good to wrap up on it. So given that, and I would love Erin's input, given that there can be so many things that go wrong with natural birth, right? Because you
Mhm.
can't control all the obstacles, basically. Wouldn't it be better to just have a C-section? Wouldn't that just be the better route to go? If it's safer, essentially, right? Because you can control the environment, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it just be in the long run better to have C-sections? So is it not surprising that C-section rates are high?
I
So
will
that's
say for
actually
me,
a
if it
super
came
big
down to it and I
misconception.
needed
That they're safer?
Correct.
There she is.
Yeah, sorry, hold on. I'm just trying to do something and I'm out of breath because I'm out of shape. Just give me 1 second.
if I had needed a C-section, if there was ever a situation in my birth, if there was a situation where okay, we've tried everything, we have to take you back for a C-section, I would have been okay, I understand that. But I was determined to have a natural birth. That's what I wanted for my first.
Right, but given that option,
birth.
you
But
would
given the option,
rather.
given the option, I still probably would have rather taken a natural approach to it rather than a
Yeah.
C-section, but that's just my personal preference because I don't like needles. I might be covered in tattoos and I might have my ears pierced and my belly button pierced and everything like that, but I hate needles. I panic at the sight of needles, and it takes either having somebody with me or listening to really calming music to help me get blood drawn, for just a regular test.
Erin, you said it's a misconception. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there's still risks. So a cesarean section is the most common huge operation. I mean, that's a major operation. They're cutting through 7
Right.
layers. So you have skin, subcutaneous fat. They tear your muscle actually because they've learned that the natural tearing, which is why episiotomies are super frowned upon. So good for you for standing up for yourself on that. They have to cut through your
Yes.
peritoneum, your uterus. So it's a big operation. And the most common risks and the complications are post-op infections, which if you aren't caught, if you don't catch it soon, can get really nasty really fast. There is the risk of
Mhm.
hemorrhaging. There's increased hospital stay. So every time you're in the hospital, your risk for contracting an in-hospital infection is obviously increased as well. And you can also injure other organs around. So like your bladder is the most common that can be injured during a C-section. Um, the baby is also at increased risk for respiratory distress in C-sections because they don't get that squeeze on the way out. So they're getting taken out of this big pile of amniotic fluid. Nothing's getting squeezed out. So they're going to be full of fluid. The risk for increase for respiratory distress is increased, and NICU stays are actually higher rates for C-section babies as well. Now, maternal deaths are actually higher for cesarean sections. My hope with that is that it's because cesarean sections are last ditch efforts when it's like really bad. Like mom and baby are both going to die if we don't do this right now. But the number for that is, and I actually got this from the American Journal of OBGYN Medicine. Maternal deaths, vaginal deliveries is 0.2 per 100,000, whereas C-sections are 2.2 per 100,000. So that's pretty significant. That's a big difference.
So basically, if you have the option, you should always do a natural.
Yeah. And the other thing is when you have a C-section, your risk for having to have another one, if you do want to have another baby, is significant. The VBAC success rates in the United States are only 60 to 80%. And some facilities don't even do VBACs. If you actually had a true emergency section the first time, if you don't wait a certain amount of time to get pregnant again, or just because of what led to your first C-section, they won't even allow it.
Wow.
That's wild.
Okay. All right.
It's crazy because the only thing I'm going to bring up about C-sections is I was a C-section baby, and I only know this because my mom told me about it. And this was way back when in like the 90s. After I was born, my sister was born like a year later, and she actually had her as a natural birth, and she didn't know what to do. Like they were like, "You need to push." She's like, "What do you mean push? What am I supposed to push?"
Yeah.
She was confused. She didn't know what to do.
So, Erin, did you want to have your second son vaginally, like naturally?
Yeah, I did. So I had talked to my provider about a VBAC, and he was great. He was like, if you really want to try, we absolutely can. And I had to have a new provider. The person that delivered my first son no longer does. He's just a family medicine doctor now. He doesn't do deliveries. So he was fantastic. He reviewed my chart. He read all of the doctor's notes from both the surgeon and my OB from my first one. And he said, I read it, and providers use this tool. They like plug in all of your information and they get this spit out computer generated percentage of, if you are going to be successful. And the computer generated was like 70% success possibility. And he said, because of where we are, we will not induce you after a C-section. And he said, your body didn't go into labor the first time. There's no guaranteeing you can go into labor the second time. So that crushed me. So we scheduled it right at 40 weeks, and I said we would cancel the C-section if I had any signs of maybe delivering at 40 weeks. But it was nothing. I didn't have any contractions. I mean, I had Braxton Hicks like my entire third trimester, but there was no signs that I was actually going to deliver or go into labor naturally. So unfortunately, with my facility where I live, it was just not an option.
So wrap up thoughts for first-time moms, just found out they're pregnant or they're in their second or third trimester or whatever. What would you, both of you, Steph, let's start with you. What would your advice be to these new moms?
My advice would probably be, again, make sure you're asking all the right questions. Make sure you have a great support system around you. Stock up on diapers as soon as you find out you're pregnant because they're expensive, and sometimes you have a baby that you think might be newborn sized that is not actually newborn sized. So then you're like, well, now I have a whole bunch of newborn diapers that I don't need, so now I need to use my size 3 diapers. So stock up on any size that you need, and just make sure you have all the people that you need around you, that you can have around you. And I will say, I regardless of how you have your child, you're still a first-time mom. C-sections still count as birth. It's still a very big thing for you to go through, and it might be different from natural birth, but it's still huge and it's recognized. Like, don't let anybody tell you otherwise, that it's not recognized. If it's an option, take it. If it's not an option, you want to go for that natural birth, take it. If they say, do you want an epidural, and you're terrified of needles, it's up to you. But make sure you don't let the doctors or anybody take away your voice. Make sure you tell them what you want and what you don't want. If you have a plan, stick to it.
Erin?
Definitely everything that Steph said. I think that the biggest thing is to get to know your provider. Don't just go and don't ask questions. Come up with questions. Don't be afraid to ask them. Shop around. If that is a luxury you have and you don't feel like you're vibing with the OB on your first appointment, find another one. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And specifically with C-sections, well, I'll take a step back and say birth plans. Yes, have your plan and stick to your guns, but just know that if you do end up having to change that, because it comes down to like, is your baby going to be safe and delivered
Yeah.
and not have a NICU stay, and you need a C-section, it's going to be soul crushing at first, but you still get a baby. You still get your healthy baby. You're not risking yours or the baby's lives. So take it a moment at a time and just breathe through it, and it will be okay. I don't regret either of my C-sections, and I definitely don't regret my emergent one at all. And then I think that my last piece of advice would be that no matter what, talk to other moms, before and after. I mean, just this right now, birth is trauma. It is very traumatic.
Yeah.
There's the rare few people that can have 5 babies beautifully, naturally, no problem. But it's traumatic for most of us, and talking to people before and after is a huge help. So definitely reach out. So it goes back to Stephanie's support system, I think.
I think the only thing that I can say, and obviously I've not had any babies of my own, but being there for Stephanie, I think that I can say wholeheartedly is, if you feel like you can't advocate for yourself, make sure somebody's in the room that can advocate for you, that knows how staunch you are against an epidural, against the episiotomy. Make sure that you have somebody in the room that can speak up for you and be confident enough to be that person for you. Make sure that they're not just in there just to be a people pleaser. Make sure that you have that voice.
If you're the baby dad, make sure you do better. Like, be there
Do
for
better.
your wife or your girlfriend or whoever you have. Be there for them. They need you at this point in time, and their body is going through something super traumatic. Don't just fall asleep on the couch. You'll have time to sleep later. You'll all have time to sleep later. I promise. It does happen. You'll get your rhythm. You'll get your momentum going. But be there for her too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hannah, I know that none of this applies to you, but you've got older kids, and you kind of married into a woman with 3 kids. So do you have any kind of advice for just parents, step-parents, or...
I'll give advice. The only advice I've really heard from my wife is those little meshy pad underwears they give y'all. Take them. Take as many as you can. That's the huge piece of advice I've heard. Take as many of those underwear as you can. You're gonna need them.
Steal them all.
They're super comfortable and super absorbent.
Steal them all.
Take them all. I've heard they're
take
the
the hospital
women.
Take the hospital diapers for the baby too. Any diapers, swaddles, anything you can get your hands on and stuff into your go bag, take it.
Do it.
I mean, you're paying for it, so you might as
Facts.
Yeah.
You are paying for it. Take it. It's yours.
Anytime you come into kids' lives, right, it's hard. I was blessed. I came into my kids' life. They were much older, so I got to avoid the baby stage, but it's a work in progress, man. So just take your time, take it one step at a time, take it one day at a time, and It'll all smooth out eventually. You know, it took me and my kids. We're going on 4 years now. Took about a year and a half, going on 2 years for us to kind of mesh. So you just got to be patient, and you got to do it at their step. You know, you got to go at
Their
their pace.
Definitely.
So
I like it. I think that's a good stopping point. I think we've all said that kind of what we need to say and felt like we needed to get out. Yeah.
Yeah.
hell yeah, brother.
All right. This was an awesome episode, ladies. I'm so excited.
Yes, me too. I like that
Thank
it's
you for
coming.
having me.
I didn't know that April was C-section. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that's I like that it fell just right, just perfectly.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we will wrap it up with that. And we'll see y'all next week.
tell your cat I said psst, psst, psst.
Tell your dog I said hi.
I'm gonna live, laugh, and go take my final toaster bath.
I don't think it's as good as the lobotomy.
I
don't
know.
either. I
I
like
had
the
to try
lobotomy much
something
better.
different.
Yeah.
It'll be
All
lobotomy
right.
from now on.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good
Erin,
one.
thank you so much for being a guest this week. You were absolutely amazing with all of the knowledge and all of the things, and it was absolutely amazing to have you. So thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you.
All right, guys, stick around, hang tight for just a moment, and yeah, we'll see y'all next week.